Welcome to the new moon in Leo, y'all. This new moon is all about you, but not so fast because we have Pluto in Aquarius opposing this energy. Welcome to Earth Tones, our third episode. I am your hostess, Kakala Moon. And let's get into this, y'all, because this energy here is very strong, especially with the outer planets moving into new signs and several of them in the early degrees of their sign. Leo is ruled by the sun. This is spotlight, flashlight, daylight. Yeah. George Clinton just turned 84 years old on the 22nd of July, on the cusp of Cancer and Leo. It's all about the Leos right now. It's all about the lions in the house. Shout out to all the Leos in the house. This is about strength, courage. It's about new beginnings because we also have Saturn and Neptune in the early degrees of the first sign of the zodiac, Aries. This is the initiation. This is the jump off. Not that kind of jump off, but this is the starting gate. Runners, take your marks. Okay. Now, Leo being ruled by the sun is the only sign that it rules, whereas the other planets rule two signs. The only other luminary that rules one sign is the moon, which rules Cancer. We have the moon at 28 degrees of Cancer, and we have the sun at 1 degree of Leo. In addition to that, we have Mercury retrograde in the sign of Leo, reiterating and emphasizing what I just said. So, when Mercury is retrograde, it's nothing to be afraid of. It's just emphasizing the need for reflection, to redo, to give it the once over, check your work. It happens 3 times a year because Mercury does a revolution around the sun every 88 days. So we can't just, avoid life during that time. We just have to check ourselves and make sure that we our emails are going through, making sure that the voicemail was received, that sort of thing. That's all. But it's also only from the Earth perspective because in space there is no time, there are no retrograde planets. It's all from the Earth perspective, which is what tropical astrology is all about. Where over here we move in harmony with the spheres. We don't resist. And we're going to be challenged to do just that with Saturn at the early degrees of Aries, sitting right next to Neptune. I believe is at the second degree, and no, Saturn is at the first degree, and Neptune is at the second degree, whereas we have the Sun at the first degree of Leo, and Pluto at the second degree of Aquarius. And this 1 degree orb does not create any type of, well, it is still what we consider in astrology to be a conjunction because that 1 degree orb is a very tight orb. And so the characteristics and significations that are associated with this aspect is very strong. The early degrees of a sign are the most potent between the 0 and 4th degree, or 0 and 5 degrees, actually. But there's also the anaretic degree, which are the last degrees of a sign. Now, we also have Chiron, which is the wounded healer. And actually, we can just drop wounded and give it the title of the healer because Chiron in mythology was a centaur that was immortal and was wounded. And being that he was immortal, he was unable to heal himself. However, he transformed that energy into an ability to heal others. And so that transformation were the transformation of, or it's representative of the transformation of the wounds of the family in this case, because this particular position of the 28th degree is making an aspect to the 29th degree of Cancer. And well, it's 27 and 28 degrees, which is where the moon is right now. And the moon, of course, are our emotions. It's our internal self. It is the involutionary process. Whereas Chiron represents the wounds that we hold internally. Now, we also have Jupiter in the sign of Gemini, where we also have Venus, the planet of love, value of self, our money, and how we express our love language. And so it is sharing the sign of Gemini with the planet of expansion, which is Jupiter. Jupiter are our children. And with Jupiter being in the sign of Gemini, the sign of communication, community, and commerce, we're talking about a lot of activity happening all around us in the neighborhood, in the community. And when we look at both of those signs together being active houses, we're talking about communication with children. We're talking about communication in the neighborhood, or activities happening in the neighborhood, because Uranus is at 0 degrees of Gemini. So these events could happen suddenly, could happen surprisingly, and could bring a shock. Uranus is electricity. So something suddenly could happen with regard to electricity. It is the lightning strike. Okay, so these planets are very active in their signs at this particular time. Now, Neptune being at the first degree of Aries is the water sign in the sign of fire. Aries is a fire sign, as is Leo. So we're elemental in with regard to the elements. We are focusing on water and fire, but we also have a lot of air, and fire and air work in conjunction with one another. And so therefore, we are also seeing a lot of fires in the world. We are also seeing a lot of flooding with Neptune in play. China and Texas. We also recently saw a tragedy with our brother Malcolm Jamal Warner. Neptune rules celebrity. Neptune rules imagination, fantasy. It rules film, the film industry, because that is imagination and fantasy. It also rules the dream. You should be keeping your dream journal right now. But this is an opportunity for the dream to be crystallized and manifested with Saturn there, because Saturn is manifestation, crystallization. It's also discipline. It's also the rules. So whatever we embark on, we have to do it with discipline. We have to establish a strategy in order for it to become crystallized and come to fruition. So we have to do the work necessary to make our dreams come true. But with Leo being the spotlight, we have Mercury going retrograde there, meaning that the emphasis is on the self. It is on how to take better care of ourselves. It is on focusing attention on ourselves, giving ourselves a little self love, being willing to put ourselves out there to help others, which is the characteristic of the sign Aquarius, the community. Because actually, when we're talking about the whole zodiac, although there are 12 signs, there are actually six axes in which to take into consideration. And this particular axis is Leo and Aquarius. Now, I'd like to extend my condolences to Malcolm Jamal Warner's family because we all, many of us rather, grew up watching the Cosby Show and watching him grow up on our TV screen. And this was a great brother who was very dynamic and very active in his community, doing great things. And so we're going to miss him dearly and wish his family well. But our brother George Clinton, which is why I keep making references to Flashlight, he turned 84 years old, a full revolution of Uranus around the sun. Most of us don't get to that age, but he did. This is a dynamic brother who um, had a career that spans from the late 50s, early 60s, and he was able to put together a family born on the cusp of Cancer and Leo. There was an emphasis on creating a family, a music family, such as Parliament Funkadelic, the Brides of Funkenstein, with all of these characters, such as Sir Nose, Dr. Funkenstein, and Brother Karak Moon did an interview with Brother D.M. Jones, who we all probably know as Dr. Wu. Now, Dr. Wu was behind the scenes wearing several hats, it seems. And we used to just get a kick out of bringing our new albums home and checking out the illustrations and reading the liner notes and all while we listened to, all our new music. Now, I was relatively young when the mothership came to my town, and my mother would not allow me to go at age 15. I was wrecked. I was too through. But I went on to make sure my presence was known at the underwater motor booty affair. Okay. Don't step on my funk, y'all. Don't step on my funk. But I was a huge fan, and as are many of you as well. I'm gonna be doing a behind the veil on my Substack where I invite you to subscribe and be a part of the family where we go deeper behind the veil and get deeper into a lot of different metaphysical, cosmological subjects and astrological for sure. But also, I invite you to subscribe to this channel. Hit the like button. Help us to grow over here at EarthtoneS. We love to have you over here. But going on, I'd like to share my screen with you. And I did this video, I don't know how many times, y'all, but I think I found the funk. Let's see where we are, y'all. Okay, boy. Now I want to get this right this time. Let's see. Okay. There we go. Now, this is the position of the planets in real time with the sun and the moon on the cusp of Cancer and Leo, as I mentioned. There's Mercury 13 degrees away in the sign of Leo, moving retrograde. And not too far away, we have Mars on my sun at 21 degrees of Virgo. So just being here is indicative of me being on the world stage and sharing this time with you all. But we have Jupiter here sitting next to the great sun, Sirius, with Venus over here at 22 degrees of Gemini. And as I mentioned, Uranus at 0 degrees of Gemini. Now, I'd like you to see where they are in the actual sky. So over here, we have the ecliptic, where you see this red line here. And here's where the sun and the moon are sitting side by side. And we also have Jupiter, where I mentioned in the sign of Gemini, is what we said. Gemini, the twins. They're the twins right there, Pollux and Castor. And here's where we have Venus. Now, in Vedic astrology, you see where the planets are actually appearing a few in the previous sign or coming into the new sign. And here's Mars over here by Virgo or in Virgo. And we have, I couldn't find Neptune, y'all, on here because it's so close to Saturn. Saturn is hiding it. But I want you to see where Saturn is here and Uranus in the Pleiades over here appearing as though it is still in the Taurus constellation because it's at the first degree of Gemini. But I'm going to stop sharing my screen. It's really interesting to see where the planets are in real time in the actual sky. And you see all the constellations here. And we have 88 constellations actually, but our sun only moves through the 12 constellations. And a lot of people will say there's a 13th, Ophiuchus, which is actually over here in Scorpio. Where we have Scorpio? The Scorpion. Scorpio. Let's see, we got to go back a little further. Okay, there's Mars in Virgo. Okay, so, there's Scorpio. Scorpio right here, because we have the fixed star Antares. There it is. Antares. And over here, where we have I saw Fomalhaut, which is one of the other royal stars, fixed stars, which is the Grand Cross that we associate with Christianity, when in fact it's not just a Christian symbol, it's also a ancient Tibetan symbol. But I don't want to waste too much time. I saw it earlier, right off of the sign of Pisces. And what is it? That's more. Okay, so it should be right back here. There it is. You see here the fish's mouth, where we have the water bearer pouring the cosmic waters to the area of the fish's mouth. That's Fomalhaut. which is in the sign of Aquarius, or no, in the sign of Pisces. And see, we have Saturn here in, that looks like Cetus the whale, but it's in the sign, in the early signs of Aries. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to bring this video to a close. But I'd like to invite you all, like I mentioned, to my other platforms, and I'm going to leave the links in the description box below. And I'm going to do one more thing before we leave, which is going to require me to share my screen once more. And let's see if I can get it right this time. Yeah. Okay, so I have to stop this first. And I'm going to, there we go. Bring it back up. And I did all that just to say, under the sun, under the sun. See y'all on the other side behind the veil, y'all. There we go.